Say hi, Sammy. Say hi.
Hi.
And we're here today with Sammy and
Melissa. I'm Sammy's OT, and today we're working on building his hand strength and his coordination so that he can do more tasks by himself, like buttoning and zippering and handwriting. Sammy, can you get us started?
Yes.
Come on up. First, we're using resistive rubber bands, and he has to be very careful to get them right on the right pegs. It takes some planning. Oh, there you go. Did you make it all the way? Oh, good job.
I mean, what else can you tell us about this game?
So this, if you notice the way that he has to be very specific if he is trying to make a certain shape. For one, he has to see it in his mind, so it helps him with 3D imaging. So he has to imagine what pegs he needs to use to make a shape. So to make the square, he had to go to the outer pegs.
Okay.
And then he has the difficult task, which is the main reason I'm doing it with Sammy, is for his fingers to actually manipulate this rubber band over just certain pegs.
Right.
And
Yes.
that, even though he's imagining and figuring out where they're going in his mind, he then has to translate that to the actual action in his fingers.
Right. Okay. Thank
So
you.
right now he's
Yes.
working on the triangle for the roof.
Okay. And
So
I
he's
see
had
that
a little
he's
trouble with that one.
right.
But he got it.
I see he's struggling a little bit, but
What are you
he.
going to make now, Sammy?
A triangle.
For what part? What part of the house are you making? Is this the door?
No.
The door.
Okay, you working on the door, Sammy?
What shape is the door?
Red.
Rectangle?
Mm-hmm.
Can you say it like I said it? Say rectangle.
Rectangle.
Good job. And the first time we did this, actually, Sammy had the idea to make a doorknob. Can you make our doorknob? Which is actually really tricky for his fingers.
Okay. Good job, Sammy.
Rubber bands are great for resistance, and so they actually help your fingers build strength. You have tiny muscles in your hand that travel down into your wrist and your forearm, and those muscles need to be exercised.
Okay.
So to exercise them, you do tasks like this.
Okay.
Whereas if you do wheelbarrow walking or weightlifting, you're exercising the big muscles. This is an actual exercise for all those little, they're called intrinsic muscles.
Okay. Perfect.
So they need some attention too.
Right.
What part are you making now? You say the chimney?
The chimney.
The chimney. Okay, remember the chimney is just a square. Or you can do a square or a rectangle works for the chimney. So are you done?
Mm-hmm.
Can you clean it up for me? Okay, so we're going to start our second activity. And just to show you, it may look like we're just playing with toys with Sammy, but and we are playing with toys with Sammy. But what these toys do is they have a specific purpose, and they have a component that we're working on. This activity actually is another hand strengthening activity because that's one of Sammy's biggest concerns that we have, which affects his ability to dress himself, brush his teeth, brush his hair. It's kind of some general weakness in his hands. It's actually very common for autistic kids. So this is Theraputty. It's actually very, very resistive and very difficult to move. And if you squeeze it and pull on it for a few minutes, even an average person, you'll feel weakness in your hands. But in order to get Sammy to play with it, we do it like different games. We'll make different designs out of it. And one of the things we're doing today is actually using this other toy for him to push with his thumbs. Can you show him? Show him up here. You push with your thumbs and his fingers to squish it into the mold, so that when he pulls it out, then he has an image of what show the camera, of what he's making. This is a Kung Fu Panda one. Other tasks you can do, you can have them break off little pieces, and they can actually roll it into balls. You can have them put it down and squish and push it, the little, we talk it making dinosaur prints or Sammy likes to call it putting craters like on the moon. That's the way he likes to call that activity. But as long as he's working with this putty, his hands are getting stronger. He will, after 10-15 minutes of playing with it, actually kind of get bored of it, but it's more, not that he's so much bored of the activity, it's that his hands actually start to get tired.
Right.
Which
yes.
tells me that it's a good strength. There are, they come in different strengths. This one's got a little scale. You can actually see the different strengths there are. He's on the firmest strength that this company makes. There is another company that makes an extra firm that I may end up ordering for him if his hands seem to get too strong for this putty.
Mommy,
Yes, Sammy.
agua,
What do you need?
agua,
Oh, water.
Okay, can you say it in a full sentence, please?
agua, please.
Can you say it in English or
job,
Spanish?
Agua, please.
Sammy, can you say it in English or Spanish? The full sentence.
Agua,
Say,
please.
I want water, please.
I want water, please.
Now, can you say
Okay.
the whole sentence in Spanish?
I want water, please.
That's English.
Sammy, are you getting confused? Can you say it in Spanish now for me, please?
Me gusta.
No, you know how to say it in Spanish, Sammy.
Can you say it?
You
Your Spanish is better than mine, Sammy.
wanna agua before?
Okay, gracias. How do you say it?
Yeah, thank you, Sophie.
Use these. And I want you to watch me, Sammy. Sammy, you gotta watch me first. I want you to use them to pick up the piece and put it in the cup. You think you can do that? All right. Oh, good job.
So what are we doing now, Mr. Melissa?
So this is just to teach his hands to make his movements. There's two words for it. It's called isolated and graded. To isolate a movement is to actually just use the part of your hand you're trying to use. So right now I'm really just wanting him to use mainly these two fingers. If you just say pick it up, he could use his whole hand. But right now I'm trying to see if he can coordinate just a few of his fingers. This is great. It actually helps a lot with handwriting. The other thing it is that's the isolating it. Grading the finger movements is how hard he has to push. If you notice, if he squeezes too hard, the legs will scissor and then
Right.
they won't pick up the activity. Here, you have to turn it this way. So he has to be careful and not squeeze too hard or he'll scissor them, but he has to squeeze hard enough to pick them up.
Okay.
So
Good, Sammy.
it makes it actually a bit of a focused activity. Okay, we're going to do it one more time. Oh, look at you, 2 in a row. That's sneaky. And he's holding it kind of close. Can you hold it a little bit further back? That makes it a little bit more challenging. Oh, just get one at a time. Let's focus on getting one. There you go. Yeah, you're pretty good at that. All right, so let's put this one up. Our last task today, this is a visual motor, fine motor task, similar to the other task that we did, but this one has emphasis on complex thought processing. So he has to actually think out where pieces go. He may end up having to move them back and forth, and because they slide very easy on this slit paper, he actually has to do a lot of that isolating and grading finger movements that we talked about earlier. Because if he moves it too far or he accidentally bumps another piece, it messes up the image. So he has to be real careful with exactly how he's using his hands. This is only the second time he's done these activities, so he's still learning them, so it's a bit of a challenge for him right now. But I'm excited to see actually how he does today with it. Figure out where that one goes. So it, at this level, it actually tells him that he needs, 4 of the red pieces, 2 of the green, and 1 of the blue. As the sheets progress, they gradually become harder as you progress throughout the book. We're on page 15 now. I think it goes up to page 30 or something. At some point, it won't even tell you what you need, and he has to even figure out what he needs. But at this level, it's just figuring out where the pieces go to fill the image.
Okay.
Okay? You still
And he's still
You
thinking.
still thinking about
Mm-hmm.
it? Sammy, I think This one is tricky, but I think that this piece right here, the blue piece, I think it's wrong. Why don't we try this and see if now you can figure out the next step. I'm just guessing. Now try to find where these go. There you go. Don't bump it too much. Remember, remember with the fingers, you have to be soft with them.
Yes, I see a problem with Sammy sometimes. He's not using all his fingers. He's using just like 2 or 3 fingers, but not all his fingers.
Yeah, on this task, there are tasks that you do want him to use all his fingers. Typically on one like this, if he uses all his fingers, he's probably going to just bump all the pieces a lot, and it'll make it trickier for him. So he really does have to try to just keep these fingers out of the way and make these fingers work for him.
Okay.
As you can see, he's kind of having some trouble with it. Okay, I'm going to help you a little bit here. Let's see. How about, you want to try that piece? How about we move this one off the top? And what if this piece, Sammy, what if it goes this way? What do you think now? Do you think you can figure out the last 2 pieces? Good. Oh, I don't think it goes on top. Where's the missing triangle? Do you see a missing triangle right there? So look, it needs to come and go there.
There you go.
So this one was, really challenging. We're going to have to do that one again the next time I come, okay? To practice it. That one was pretty challenging. Okay, you want to try this one? How many yellow do we need?
1.
Okay, how many red?
1.
And how many blue?
4.
And how many green?
5.
Is that what it says?
No,
How many
1.
green? 1. And how many tan?
2.
2. Okay. Now see if you can figure this one out. Looks like it kind of looks like a turtle. Oh, good job. I think that is where that goes. One of the tricky things about being a therapist is, it was really hard for me to master, is learning when to help and when to not help. Because you want them to do it right, you want them to have success, but if you always do it for them, then obviously they don't progress.
That's
So
correct, yes.
I've actually found the trickiest part of being a therapist
Where's
is
that go?
not helping. Because I'm here to help, but I have to not help. What? Can you, I think let's wait on this one. Why don't you put this one on? Where do you think he goes?
And can you tell us, in the meantime, why do you decide to be a, occupational therapist and not anything else?
Yeah, that's a long story, but I'll try to make it quick. My daughter needed therapy when she was little, and that's how I learned about therapy. But I did learn about all therapy. I learned about OT, PT, and speech. And I was trying to decide which one I wanted to be, because I just knew I wanted to help children, and I knew I wanted to be a therapist. So I actually went and watched some OTs, PTs, and speech. And the moment I saw the OT, I was sold. I realized that I didn't want to be a PT because I'm kind of small and I didn't really want to be picking at people all day long. I didn't want to be speech because I realized that it was a lot of being inside their mouth, lots of swallowing, and just our tick of saying, say p, and they would say p, and then you say p, and I'm like, oh, that will make me crazy at the end of the day. And when I found out that OT actually, you do so many things, I know I would never get bored. If I get bored of working on dressing, I can work on bathing, I can work on hair, I can work on brushing his teeth, we can work on his buttons, and then I can work on things that help his mind, I can work on things that strengthen his hand. So he's not getting bored and I'm not getting bored because I'm not having to do these just 2 things and having to do them over and over and over again. And the reason I wanted home health was I love a change of environment and I love being challenged by a lot of different types of children. I didn't want to work in like a NICU and only be around infants. I wanted to have children from 0 all the way to 21. I wanted every different diagnosis because to me, therapy is therapeutic for me as well as it is for them. I learned something from every one of them. You know, some of my children.
Miss Allison.
Oh yeah.
Miss Allison?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Who is Miss Allison?
Is it one of your teachers?
No, she used to be in my therapy.
Oh, she used to be
Oh,
your
you used to have a
occupational therapy.
therapist?
Yes.
Wow, and you remember her name?
You remember
Look
her
at
name
this one,
right now.
Sammy. You did it. Very little help from me. I think this one was easier than this one. What do you think?
Yes. Which one was easier, Sammy, for you? Which one you think? That one? Okay. I'm
Yeah,
glad.
this one was tricky. Do you want to try it a second time? No?
No, I'll let you go. Can you please tell us a funny story that, you know, with all your years of experience that had happened to you?
Yeah, I can tell you about this little girl that when I started with her, she had a trach, a breathing tube out of her throat. And she got me one day, she coughed and spewed sputum literally all over me. It was gross. But what happened was it was educational, so I learned that after that, I sit beside her, not in front of her. I like to think that all the kids teach you something. So I was kind of saying earlier, I had this one girl, she would actually change her name every day. And if I didn't remember it, she wouldn't work with me. And it was a really long name every day.
Wow.
And she taught me how to remember names because I used to be really bad at remembering names, and now I'm very good at it because I learned to listen and I learned to pay attention to her. So yeah, I think you feel like you're there helping the children, but in so many ways they're there helping you, and they train you to be a better therapist. And the more you work with and the more years you do it, the better you become as a person and as a therapist. You become more therapeutic for them, and they become more therapeutic for you.
That's
Which makes
right.
it the most rewarding job you could ever have.
Thank you so much, Miss Valisa.
Sure. And I love Sammy, so I work with him always. He's a great
I really
kid.
appreciate you, everything you do for Sammy and, you know, all the kids. Well, say adios.
Adios.
Bye-bye. Adios.